out and leave it up to you for the next class. Here is some advice from our current cohort.
I can kick it off. I don't mind. I would just say that slow and steady wins the race, you know? I mean, that's a big cliche, but you're going to get overwhelmed at times and you need to step back and realize it's only 3 months and you really have a lifetime to learn everything because there's a lot to learn. So just take it easy, and you'll get it.
I can share some of my thoughts. For Unit 1, don't worry too much about CSS because you're gonna have a lot of practice in the later weeks. For Unit 2, 3, and 4, 2 words, console log. That's all I have.
To piggyback a little bit off of what Will said, speaking of slow and steady wins the race, just a reminder to sleep and feed yourself and take breaks and really take the time that you need to take care of yourself, because it is a fast 3 months, it is a fast 12 weeks, but it will be very hard to make it through those weeks if you don't from the get-go get into the habit of really setting aside the time. Even if you've got a bit of a homework assignment left or a bit of a project left, it's never worth, not sleeping for and not eating for. Got to keep yourself healthy so you make it through the full time.
I was going to say the same thing. So I'm definitely going to second what Annie said. There's always going to be more work. There's always going to be the one little small change that you want to make before you turn in your assignment. There's always going to be an improvement you can implement. But no amount of work is going to make up for lack of sleep. So definitely want to second that. It's super, super important. I made the mistake earlier on in the course of staying up later, and I have had to literally log off to sleep because I was not processing anything. You don't want to be that person.
I'd like to say, don't feel bad if you are not good at algorithms by themselves, because what you'll find is that when you're working on a project, your ability to do algorithms to solve your own problems might be actually a lot stronger than you anticipate based on your experience being able to solve them in the classroom exercises, right? So don't feel overwhelmed by that. And to kind of say a more general thing about feeling overwhelmed, there are going to be days or pieces of the day or even entire weeks where you think to yourself, what did I sign up for? I cannot do this. But you can, and what I found is that on the days that I usually felt like that, and there were a few days, usually towards the end of each unit, where I felt like I was entirely overwhelmed and I could not do it. The very next day, the lecture or something about the way that it was presented would completely reshape my perception of the topic, and it would make a lot of things click. So in those moments where you feel really overwhelmed and stressed, keep in mind that there's usually going to be more clarifying information that you get later that takes all that worry and stress away, and you just have to take it one day at a time, and don't let any one day paint your whole perception of your abilities or how you think the rest of the class is going to go for you.
Yeah, piggybacking off that, I just say the pain is very temporary and it's worth it.
Algorithms, we do them every morning. Tyler touched on it, but don't slack off on the algorithms. It's easy to look at it in the beginning and the algorithm looks like it's in a foreign language. That's because it is, and we have to learn that language. And if you actually work on the algorithms every morning, by the end of the 3 months, I promise you'll kind of, to a degree, know how to do them, and they won't be as scary if you actually try to work them out and don't just like blow them off. So do your algorithms.
I wanted to say, talk to each other. Don't wait too late in the course to start talking to each other, because you will honestly build a really strong support system when you do it. And it's going to definitely help you get through the rest of the course. You'll see that for sure by like the second or third unit. Definitely talk to each other.
I
I
really,
literally was about to say that, and he he jumped in and said it. You are totally my twin.
yeah, I was gonna say that too. Second both of you, that just help each other out. Like, don't be shy to ask other classmates for help. They can be your time saver, they can be your lifesaver, and sometimes even better in the office hour, just saying. And also, like, be willing to help each other too, be willing to help others too, because you will learn more than you know, for sure.
Kind of going off of that, when you talk to someone, it can like help you with your own knowledge too, just trying to verbalize something and put it out there for the world instead of just thinking about it in your head. It's like a good way to solve problems too. Like as soon as you ask a question, you might be like, oh, wait, I know what the answer is. So talking about code really helps.
And just expanding just a little bit more on that, it's even like it's been really good as far as moral support as well. There's been a lot of times where like I would feel so defeated, and just talking to, other peers in my class and seeing, us just sharing our struggles together, and then we were able to laugh about a lot of different things. So it definitely helped and pushed me to keep going further, and you build strong friendships that with each other. So yeah.
One more thing I want to add is that the first 2 weeks are the hardest because probably, I mean, for me, I've never written a line of code before this class. So the first 2 weeks was the hardest on me, but ever since we passed week 2, I feel like it will be easier. So just relax and just take one day at a time.
I think also don't be afraid to screw up. Don't be afraid to, delete code, start over again. It's going to happen. You're going to screw something up. You're going to want to do something completely differently, and it can be totally daunting, but that's how you learn anything, but particularly when learning to code. You learn by your mistakes a lot of the time.
If you already know a programming language and you're trying to learn a new one, try to like obsess over the differences between them, and learn what those distinctions are. Like learn what it means to be an object-oriented programming language, for instance, and then when you go to learn that new language, you sort of can use the tools that you already have, and at least you're not starting from nothing. Never think that you're starting from nothing.
Learn to love errors. Errors are your friends. Initially, you'll see them as enemies, but in fact, they are telling you, they're giving you a roadmap for how to move forward. So.
To piggyback off that, just because you don't get errors doesn't mean your code works like it's supposed to. So, make sure that you test the functionality and you know that your code does what it's supposed to do, because even though you don't have errors, you will find that your code is broken and you have a lot of work to do to fix it.
Absolutely. Do not assume.
Yeah, I think that's the most scariest, like when you don't have error and you don't have things working.
Also want to add that try not to skip the extra reading materials after every homework. I understand that probably for the first couple weeks, you will feel tired after spending 3-4 hours on the homework, but the extra materials are really helpful.
Even if you can't really understand it the first time you read it, just read again, and one day you will know and you'll find this is really helpful for your future study.
Yeah, I'd
I
like
want
to
to
jump
second
in
that.
on.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead. Or I totally agree. And just like if there are times, and like the course will be faster and slower for different people at different times. But like if you're feeling confident for a little while and you like things are moving a little slow for you, just like read articles about advanced topics about whatever you're talking about. Or if you're feeling good, like push yourself and just read, and like more perspectives on the same thing just helps your mental model just kind of grow in its complexity so that you really truly understand what you're trying to work with.
All right. Well, that was a lot. I'll tell you, it was better than writing it down. Way better than writing it down. I could go back and write this stuff down, but you wouldn't capture, like, I would lose all of this. Like, just the tones of your voice, just the, enthusiasm about what to do, what not to do, what's okay, is really, it's better than reading bland old words. So I think the next class will definitely really, take this to heart.
Joe, before we go, I just wanted to tell them not to get discouraged when they see our projects, because you said we're the most talented cohort you've ever taught. So just.
Well, I can edit all this, right?
It's important that goes on the record.
Yeah,
I'm going to stop the recording now anyway, just so that I don't have to do